We're gonna start it. I got 6:04-ish roughly. Galen, you ready, sir? Okay, as long as we get Galen to talk, we're all good. So the first thing we do is we were going to do the
Additions or deletions?
what about review the?
Yeah, and then we're gonna do that.
Okay, additions or deletions to the agenda. Does anybody have anything? We have an executive session, but anybody? Okay, members of the public, I see, is Dana a member of the public?
Mm-hmm.
Dana, Kendra, and Mark.
Hey, this is Dana. I want to just tell the board that the Dover Theater kids are doing awesome, and invite everybody to come and see the show in May. And if anybody wants to donate time or materials to the set, we would love that. And then if Kendra wants to add her bid, she can too.
What do you need for materials, Dana? Did she say materials?
This is Kendra. For materials, we don't really have a specific things we need, but anything that people might have, they think that the theater club could use. We are having a few Saturday build days for our sets coming up, but I think our budget is actually pretty good in terms of needing what we need for those days.
Okay, because I got lots and lots of junk, so you tell me if you need anything specifically, and we may have it in the barn.
Fantastic. We will put out a in search of if we come up with anything neat that we need specifically.
Okay, well, there's lots of neat stuff, but I don't know how neat it is for theater. Kendra, was that the same for you? Was that all you had?
Yep, just here to listen along.
Okay, thank you. Mark, do you have anything?
Nothing specific, thank you.
Okay. Members of the staff, I saw Lori. No, Lori, I don't see any staff, is there? Okay. So then we got review annual meeting. So I think everybody maybe got in their mailbox. Did you get yours in Westover?
Yep.
Yes, I got mine in Wardsboro.
Wardsboro? Cool. So Dwight, did you get one?
Not yet. I haven't been able to get the mail yet, though.
Okay.
A couple days.
Did you get one? Yeah.
Me?
Yes, you. Gosh, it's been a really bad weekend, guys. Sorry. Chad, did you happen to get one, sir?
I have not yet.
Okay.
Do we have extra copies at town office?
There will be, as of tomorrow, the box is going to Wardsboro tomorrow, which will then be distributed to the town offices, and the Dover one, I think, will be going there today or tomorrow. But there's some right up by the front here as well.
And there'll be some at the school, Chad, or at the town office, okay, buddy?
Okay. Yep, sounds good, thank you.
Thank you. So anyways, I think the person that did it did a really nice report. Mark, I don't know if you got yours, but I think you're happy there's no lines in it. They used to have like this I don't know what they were.
Visual effects.
Visual effects.
Undocumented special.
So anyways, the warning starts on page 2 of the book. So it starts off again, Article 12 to be voted on by Australian ballot for election of board members, and the polls open at 10 a.m. and stay open until 7 p.m. on Monday, April 29th at the Wardsboro Town Hall, 71 Main Street, Wardsboro, for all Wardsboro voters, and at the Dover Down Hall, not the Dover Town Hall. How did that get by? Dover Town Hall, 189 Taft Brook Road, East Dover, for all Dover voters. Well, you know, that's pretty fitting that it's just above Goose City where they used to do down, isn't it?
It's good.
Yes. I don't know. Goose City Gazette. Article 1, elect a moderator serve for fiscal year July 1 to June 30th, 25, and set a stipend at $200 per meeting for the moderator. People, just interrupt me if anybody has any questions. Is that Don in the middle?
Yep.
Hi, Donna in the middle. It's like the Brady Bunch. There's 6 of you. Article 2, to elect a clerk to serve for the fiscal year July 1 to June 30, 25, and set a stipend of $2,400 for the clerk. And our Part C is to set a stipend of $400 for an assistant clerk to be appointed and used at the discretion of the clerk. Article 3, to elect a treasurer to serve for the fiscal year from July 1 to June 30th, 25, and to set a stipend of $2,400 for the treasurer. And then Article 4, shall they set the annual stipend for school directors at $2,500, for the chair at $3,000. Seeing no comments. Article 5, approve mileage reimbursement, the federal reimbursement rate for the month in which the mileage occurred. Article 6, so the voters approve the school board to move any surplus from the 23-24 budget into the general reserve fund to be reserved for a future use as approved by the voters. And is Lori still there? Did Lori go away?
No, she might be on the side. She
Oh.
just can't see in the voting boxes.
Okay, there's other people? I'm
Yep, there's
sorry.
other people on the side.
Okay. Lori, we still looking good for the surplus you were thinking? And you gotta unmute.
Yeah, so I sent over some documents earlier today. I think they came out with the board stuff. It's a little bit less, but I know that there's a lot of things encumbered right now, and we're winding down the spending, so I think we're gonna be right around the 300 mark.
Okay. Well, we're still in that ballpark.
Yeah, still in the
Okay.
ballpark, sure.
As long as we didn't go down to some other ballpark that was a lot lower.
No, you're in good shape.
Okay, Article 7, voters to set the annual tuition rate to approved independent schools at $20,966. The Burton sending school tuition for the 24-25 school year. And this article goes on every year because it has to. Article 7. And if somebody has a question or comment, you're gonna have to raise your hand because I guess there's too many people and you're on 2 pages. Article 8 is, shall the voters of the River Valley Unified School District approve the school board to expend $6,845,217, which is the amount the school board has determined to be necessary for the ensuing fiscal year. And if you go back in your book, it's almost towards the end. There is, starting on page 20, there's the proposed budget, the annual expenditures, and it goes all the way to page 24. And then Lori did her normal, very well done summary, which should be just before that on page. The summary where she kind of recaps the expenditures this year compared to last year. That's behind the budget. So on page 26, she has FY24 compared to FY25. So the budget for FY24 was $6,532,635, and the proposed budget, as we mentioned earlier, $6,845,217. It's a variance of $312,582, which is 4.78%. And the major changes is 5% for the negotiated employees and 4% for non-negotiated, non-union employees. Health benefits average increase of 16.4%. Again, pretty much we get told what they are and we get to pay them. And then we have increased some positions. There's a one full-time person for support for student support. There's in Dover building, there's a 0.10 or 10% increase in PE health. There was an increase in Wardsboro building for after-school staffing for supervision. And the Wardsboro nurse was increased from a 0.6 to a 1.0, and then an additional food service person. And then we had a pretty good decrease in secondary students, which is the tuition grid, there's 15 students that we lost budget to budget, real students, not weighted students that come out at a fraction of a number. And then I like, Lori does this, the student-centered investment. So out of that budget, 88% is going directly to student services, 78% direct instruction, and 10% in operation of the buildings, food service, transportation, only 10% to administration, and 2% to technology, and 2% to capital investments. So is there any questions on is there any questions on Article 8 for the budget? Hearing none. Article 9, shall the voters of the River Valleys fund its capital reserve funds the following amounts for the 24-25 school year: $400,000 for buildings and $40,000 for transportation, with half coming from the general reserve fund and half from being raised in taxes. And if you go into the back of the book, on page 18 is the overall capital budget that just shows the balances in the building fund and the fleet management, and how much we're going to contribute, how much we feel there'll be in expenses, and then the ending balance. And on page 19, it has for the two buildings, the Dover building, the Wardsboro building, what's going to be done for FY25. So in Wardsboro, we're $42,000 for the alarm panel. In Dover, we're doing $300 roughly for the roof, which is not the whole roof. It's only half the roof. $11,000 for the water storage tank. Why do we need a new water storage tank? Anybody know?
Dick doesn't know.
Well,
If you don't know, just say I don't know.
Well, no, there's something that goes wonky with ours. It happened a couple of times this year, and that's why we had to close school at a half day a couple of times. And it's something to do with that water storage tank. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's
Okay.
definitely
Could
something.
you just find out, have Greg send us something?
Yeah, I feel like there was something about air
Air in the
in the lines, and so it created some sort of an airlock, and it wasn't pumping.
So is
So
it
it felt
is
like
it the
they'd run
tank
out of
out
water.
back, the big cement tank, or is it the tank in the back room that
I think
does
it's
the
the
pressure?
tank in the back room.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it felt like they ran out of water,
Right.
but it turns out it was just, they had to clear this air, release
Okay.
the air, and then it went.
Oh, go ahead, Chad, I'm sorry. Thank you.
So can you refresh our memory as to the alarm panel for Wardsboro?
Yeah, all the alarm panels have to be replaced because they're not addressable. So they basically go, there's a fire alarm, but it doesn't tell you which alarm is going off. And so we have to update them, and that it's more than just the panel, but it's updating, I guess, all, the whole system. So we're doing
Okay.
Wardsboro this year, and then next year we're doing the Dover one. The other thing is, I know in the Dover building, there's magnets on the doors, so when the alarm goes off, the doors are supposed to close, and do they not all work or something? I remember Greg was saying something about that.
No, they do all work. He was just saying that he would like the classroom doors, I think, to also do that.
Okay, I thought they did.
No.
No.
Just the
So,
hall.
Rich, question about the fire alarm panel. Because, I had asked a couple of folks that are in the schools, and the scuttlebutt that I had heard was that when Greg came to visit and look at the alarm panel in Wardsboro, with the fire inspector and the specialist that he brought along with them, both of the outside sources of the panel that Wardsboro had was top notch and does not need to be replaced. So I'd like to look a little deeper into that if we could. I think it would be smart for
Can you
us as
just
a
do that,
board
Bob?
to understand that
See, Greg can even show
in
us.
full.
Yeah, so Chad, we'll do that. Again, remember, just because it's on there doesn't mean we're gonna spend it either, so, and it'll have to go out to bid, so we'll have lots of time to ask questions and,
Oh, absolutely. But again, I don't want to get caught with our pants down by not making commentary, in a timely and accurate and proactive way. And so, again, a deeper dive into these big, heavy capital expenditures is something that we really need to be aware of.
Okay,
Thank you.
so Bob is gonna get that for us, and we'll have that for next week.
Okay.
Okay.
And, and again, the same thing, talking about the, automatic locks on the doors. I recognize that now is not necessarily the time to get into great debate about that, but I would ask that we all give some serious thought to that. As it is, if we have somebody that can penetrate the magnetic locks on the exterior doors.
It's not that, Chad. What it is there's magnets on the door that hold the door open, and when the alarm goes off, it releases a magnet so the door closes. It's a fire thing. It's not a.
It's actually both. It
No,
serves both
I
purposes.
understand that, Rich. I do. As far as closing down a
Yeah, but I
business
mean,
zone,
the
it's
fire
like having a
department.
firewall.
Yeah.
I get that, but I understand there's also some conversation about wanting to implement the door locks on individual classrooms so that they were automatically locked if there was some sort of intrusion, if I'm not mistaken. So again, just making sure it's in the record so we can address it fully and properly.
Yeah. Yeah, the overbuilding is until next year, so that won't be discussed this year. So is there any questions on the capital plan? So if you actually look in your book onto page, on page 25, so one of the things we asked Lori to do, and she did a good job with her graph, is because of Article 9 and 10 being a substantial amount of money, we asked her to compare the tax rates if they were both passed. Article 9 and 10 passed in the affirmative, which basically changes the tax rate less than 1 cent. It goes from that can't be right, Lori. Yes, I'm sorry, from $1.12.1 to, I'm sorry, $2.12.1 to $2.12.7, so it's 0.6 of a cent in Dover, and from $1.48.7 to $1.49.1, which is half a cent, 4/10 of a cent. I'm sorry.
4 times, yep.
4/10, yeah.
Okay.
So is there any questions on Article, totally lost now, Article 9, and then Article 10, I'm sorry, Article 10, we didn't go over, Article 9, and then Article 10 is shall the voters of the River Valley authorize school board to withdraw money from the reserve fund, offset the homestead tax rate, but not more than $200,000, and that's something we've done, I believe, ever since I can remember, since Act 60 came to town. And then Article 9 and 10, if you vote both of them in the affirmative, there's very little movement in the tax rate. And we only spent about 1/3 of the reserve fund, which is kind of where we've tried to do in the past, not spend more than 1/3. Is there any questions on that? I see Laura's here. Hi, Laura. Article 11, address any other business that may legally be addressed or open discussion for informal purposes. So we had website update, school construction repair versus new future school construction aid. And then there was a request to research bonding to accomplish several building projects. So when we looked at the long term on the reserve for the building, the projects coming up, as Chad was saying, if you include the roof again for over 2 years, we split the roof on the Dover building up, and then we also have alarm panels, we have a hood, we've got plumbing system, line and fixtures because of, I believe, lead and copper coming up in the Wardsboro building. We're looking at spending in the neighborhood of over $500,000 each year for the next 3 years. So would it maybe make sense to get all those projects done at one time and borrow money and see what the interest rates are and what we can do for bond. But it's nothing that we would vote on, it would just be to hear what the public thinks, and then if we need to, we can, have further discussions over the spring and summer. Any questions on Article 11? And then Article 12 is the one we voted on the day before. It's a school director from Wardsboro and a school director from Dover. And just remember that everybody, we have to be here at 6 p.m. at the town hall on Tuesday to count votes.
And the public should show up at 7 p.m.
Right.
Yep.
That's when the meeting starts. Any questions, comments, answers? Cool. Old business. So policy update. So Lori's here. Lori's somewhere there on the TV. We've got Marco here. We had an investments policy draft discussion and possible action. So where do we start? In our packet, there should be
E11.
E11, which is policy update. I know there was some correspondence back and forth from VSBA about why they don't have one, or why they're not recommending one, or why they don't have a sample. I know Lori, wherever Lori is, right there, feels it's important to have one to help direct. And there's the reason I asked both Marco and Lori here. So in the olden days, for Dover anyways, we did not utilize Wyndham Central for our accounting. That was done in-house by our elected treasurer. And then and I believe Wardsboro was always part of the WCSU's accounting system. And then when we combined, it made a lot of sense to go with Lori because of all the reporting required, to go with the Wyndham Central, because there's a lot of different reporting requirements now. And so I thought maybe we could have a quick discussion about who does what and what the treasurer's job really is and what Lori's job really is in Lori's department. So I don't care how we start that, or who wants to jump in, but why don't you do Lori? Ladies
Jump
first.
in? Okay.
Okay.
All of the AP and payroll and contracts and all of that come through our office. And I think where Marco and I work together is he gets emails from both AP and payroll to make sure that there's adequate funds in the accounts. And then, of course, the investment policy talks specifically about the treasurer. And he and I are working together, although he tried to call me today and I did not get back to him. So I apologize, Marco.
It's all right.
So hopefully,
I know where you are.
Tomorrow maybe
Yeah.
we can touch base
Yeah.
because we do want to move some money. Investing, honestly, up until the last really year and a half, hasn't been on the radar because there wasn't a lot of money to be made out there other than our checking accounts. We have just switched over to a product called InterFi, which is giving us more protection onto the checking account and also a little bit higher interest rate. And Marco, I know you've had the conversation with Sarah. Is it 3% that we're making?
Yeah,
now
it's in
on
the it's in the 3% range, and the IntraFi is a series of FDIC insured deposits. So they go to a network of thousands of banks and they pool together. They get 250,000, whatever the FDIC limit is, and they spread that across a series of banks. So your risk is spread out. So that's where the majority of the money is right now. We're looking at some other options that M&T have available. We just want to figure out how much to sort of lock up for what period of time where we can get a little bit more return. So that's kind of really the discussion that's waiting to happen between Lori and myself. So that, and everything that M&T, basically all the banks offer through a municipal banking platform, because that's essentially what this is, fits in with the investment policy. So we're already doing, the policy already addresses what we're doing, so, yeah, that's.
Right, so, unfortunately, we're getting close to the end of the year.
Right.
Just everything takes time and getting things in place. I mean, I had wanted you all to adopt a policy before we made any moves, so I'm hoping that can happen tonight, maybe. So we won't be able to tie up as much money because we'll need it for the summer
Right.
until the taxes come around again in September, or October, rather, for
Right.
Dover, right? They're your first
Yeah.
ones that pay.
And, yeah, and so I can also add too that the investment policy that WC has that they've adopted, that's now our draft, is basically a VLCT boilerplate. Every town pretty much uses this across the board. This is what Dover's policy is, more or less, so.
This investment for River Valley.
The one, well, I'm looking at the WCSU, which
Same.
it's the same.
Okay,
as
so
River Valley,
your
so,
feeling is that the WCSU one came from VLCT versus
Yeah,
the
yes,
VSBA, okay.
yeah.
And is the WCS one in place?
We voted that a while ago.
2011, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm comfortable with, now the River Valleys, that one is, this is a draft.
Just the names have changed.
Right, okay.
That's all. It's the
Yeah,
same.
so if it's the same,
No
then,
text has changed.
then we'd be okay.
Yeah, usually they just change WCSU for, you can have one, you
Okay.
keep that.
Because when it was, as you were saying earlier, Rich, when it was, Dover School was being handled by me as the treasurer, we were using the policy that was the town's, which is the same as, so it's really always the same policy.
Yeah, I mean, at one
Yeah.
time, I can remember when I was doing the budgets, like when we were under $2 million, we were making like 40 or 50,000 a year in interest, and it was substantial. And
Yeah.
then everybody's buying cars for 0%.
Well, rates are back up now, so there's
Yeah.
discussion that, there are things that you can actually do, but when rates were 0 for the longest time, wasn't really much to do.
Okay.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I think that, once we get through the summer and get through September, and we start getting in those first tax payments, we'll go ahead and do a longer term investment. I mean, that's, Marco and I have sort of had that email conversation back and forth, so this might be we might do something that's short term and not a lot of money to tie up right now, because we're coming into that time when money's going out and not coming in, so.
Okay, so you want to speak about the policy group?
So pretty much based on what, like the recommendations of Lori and Marco, it sounds like this would be a solid policy for us to move forward for warning. So I would like to make a motion to move this forward, to warn this policy for adoption.
Okay, do we have a second to the? Chad, thank you. That was Chad. Okay, so we have a motion by Kate and a second by Chad to adopt the investment policy. So discussion, is there any discussion?
To warn it or adopt it?
Oh, I'm sorry, to
Warn it,
warn it,
yeah.
yes. Warn it for adoption next time. Go ahead, Dwight.
Oh, thanks. I just had a question, for Marco. If I don't have the policy in front of me, but it's the same as the last time. I think early on in the first paragraph, it states that the treasurer will have a sole authority to invest. I'm just wondering, is that, do you feel comfortable with the wording in that paragraph? Or is that, I think that's how it's normally done. But,
Yeah, that's generally the role of the treasurer, but this is a unique situation where the treasurer is not in the finance office, so usually that person is the same person. So given that, Lori and I don't do anything that would impinge upon her being able to spend the money. That's why we communicate. We can tweak that. you know, I'm comfortable with it, if you guys are okay with it.
So Dwight, let me just read that sentence, okay? So we're all
Sure.
hearing it. Chad, do you have a copy of it in front of you? So it is the policy of the River Valley Board that monies received by the treasurer on behalf of River Valley School District may be invested and reinvested by the treasurer. So Laura.
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah, it doesn't say you have to, and
Yeah,
it
it's
says you
open,
may be.
yeah.
I think it's pretty open, and it doesn't say that you can't take advice, and,
Right. We're also trying to, over the last couple of years of this, as this has all evolved, Lori and I have been trying to document what each of us do so that someday when there isn't a Lori and Marco, they can have,
you mean like December?
well, yeah,
For Lori.
well, for Lori, but happily on her end.
But not
Just so
happy for
that,
us.
right, so that we have, just so we can document it really. So we're just so you know that we're working on that as well.
So after rereading it right now, like it just hit me that it keeps referencing RVUSD, and it should be RVUSD, so we need to make that edit to this, that it should be River Valley's Unified School District throughout this documentation.
Okay, so we can add that to your motion if you want. There's a couple other quick things too, but let's see if there's any other discussion. Dwight, are you all set?
Yeah, I think so. I just, I'm just wondering if, I'm not putting this out there or anything, is, if that line should read, that the treasurer can invest with the approval of the board, or do we not need does the board not feel that we need to approve any moves into accounts?
I think it can really, because we only meet once or twice a month, I mean, it could impinge the ability of the treasurer. I know that like rates on CDs change hourly. And then, a bank will offer a product, they'll offer a CD at 6%, 5.5%, but they only have so many of them that they can sell, or so much in dollar wise, because I know for a trust that we're involved with, sometimes we have to, if we don't respond within an hour, we lose that amount, the ability to invest with that bank. So sometimes I think we need to, trust our people that are working for us. And they're an elected official also. It's not like he's just, a person that we brought in off the street.
I think also to add to that, the statute that defines the role of a treasurer dictates that that's what the job is, so.
Okay, I just want to clarify that.
Yeah.
Thank you. That sounds good.
But Dwight, you could do that. We could make that, we could amend the
I'm just trying to
the
get
motion
pulse.
to do that.
I'm not promoting that or not. I just want to just have a discussion about it. That's all.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good thing. Is there anything else from you, sir?
Not right now.
Okay, Chad, and then Laura, if you have anything, we'll get you after Chad. Go ahead, Chad.
Well, as it turns out, Kate, you hit on the first part, and that's just to make sure that our language is consistent throughout our documentation. And then, Marco, you just spoke, and to Dwight's point, that this policy gives us the guidelines, for the finance officers to really follow, and define products that are, not going to lose principal, and that's part of the municipal platform. And it's too important, for us, and that's the understanding. So to get into risky, securities is not the angle. So, I really do think that we're in good hands, and that, those who will come after Lori and should Marco's time as treasurer come to an end, and, his own choice and not run again or what have you, that, the next person will have the experience and the understanding to, kind of run this vehicle, properly, for our gain and not for any destructive, selfish purposes.
Thank you, Chad. Laura, do you have any comments, thoughts?
No, I don't. I'm satisfied with the proposal.
Mike? Anything else, Kate? I just want to let y'all know that Marco told me he met this guy, his name was Bernie something, and he was sponsored, he says this Enron company is a really good investment and we should dump all our money into it. He can double our money for us, so you guys don't mind if Marco goes that route, do y'all?
While we were at a meeting in the Caribbean,
Right.
they treated me too.
Yeah.
Right.
Caymans.
Right, Caymans.
The Caymans? Okay, so can we just, let's amend the motion, if you don't mind, to correct the title and the verbiage, and also we need to add the date, voted for warning, and then the date adopted.
You got it.
Are you okay to amend that?
I am okay to amend that to include River Valley's Unified School District and all of the subsequent references to be RVUSD.
And then add the
And then add
dates.
the dates,
places for dates.
the places for dates on this policy so that we can clearly see when we last reviewed it and keep it moving forward.
Oh, it's on the bottom. Let's move, most
Put it on the
parts are
top
on the
corner.
top,
Yeah.
yeah. Chad, are you okay with that? Will you second that? Thank you. Chad seconds it. Meredith, it's a little confusing. Are you okay?
I think I am.
Okay, so unfortunately, we got an amendment. So all those in, go ahead, Mark.
No, my comments on the whole policy, not the amendment.
Okay, so you want to let us do the amendment first?
Go for it.
Okay, so all those in favor of the amendment signify so by saying aye.
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 Sounds as though it's a unanimous decision. It is a unanimous decision in the affirmative, so now the policy is going to be changed as we discussed in the amendment. So discussion on that. Is there any, Mark, I'll get to you in 1 second. Is there any discussion from the board? Anybody on the board wants any other comments? Going once, going twice? Go ahead, Mark, your turn.
When we put this policy together for the SU, I had communicated with the VSBA and VSBIT. There were reasons that they pulled the policy. I don't remember what they were, but there were reasons. I would recommend that you contact VSBIT prior to adoption of this. You've got 2 weeks to find out whether they've got any issues with it before you move forward with it.
Yeah, I think, Mark, that Bob did check with both VSBA and VSBA, or just VSBA?
I can't remember if you did one or both. We can
Bob
ask-
just had to step away, so why don't we table this for 1 second
Well, we can
till
take
Bob comes back?
Mark's comment, make a note of it, and we have the 2 weeks to think about that before it moves forward for approval.
Okay, the only thing I was thinking is if there was a good reason not to, we may want to vote it down.
Well, we can vote it down in 2 weeks if we decide to.
Okay.
If we gain information in that time, we can
What
definitely vote
an
it down.
untimely leaving of the meeting.
I know.
Let's give him
Yeah,
1
I
second.
thought Bob had already ran the file.
He did, I just don't remember, and I don't have all my papers with me. So Bob isn't here right this second, but he's coming back because I hear him clomping around over on the side.
I had a question about you going to kill some time.
Go ahead. Is it on it's on the policy, right?
Yeah, on the well, yes, on the policy. Well, not on the policy, but it's on investing. So I think Lori mentioned that they're waiting for the end of the tax season. I just was curious, are most of our funds in the reserve funds? Can they be invested at this time rather than waiting till after tax season?
Well, we'll have to wait till at least after the school district meeting to see what is actually is there. And then remember, she also she uses that money to borrow from to pay her bills because, we start paying bills big time in July 1st for the year, and we don't see any money till September sometime.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that was used for the operation.
Yeah, sometimes we have to go ahead, Lori, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all in the same account. It's part of, it's really part of the cash flow process. So, it's basically you dip into that when you're the money's going out the door before we get the tax money in. So revenues basically from the state, from grants, from anything stop, pretty much June 30th, right? So we've got July and August where we're running payrolls, we have APs, that type of thing. So you see that, your balances drop off, but then as soon as we get the tax payments, it refills each fund, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bob, there was a question from Mark about that when they were reviewing the investment policy for WCSU, back when Mark was on the policy board, sometime in the last 3 to 4 years, that there was a recommendation from VSBIT as to why VSBA and VSBIT doesn't have an investment policy. And I know you talked to the VSBA lady, chair, or the executive director. Do you recall why they did that?
She said,
Did you talk to, you didn't talk to VSBIT though, just the VSBA?
just to VSBA, they said that because the law does not require one, that they didn't have it listed amongst their other ones. And they talked about, she gave me the criteria of why they have model policies. And it basically didn't meet those criteria. So the criteria they listed were lends predictability and consistency to board operational practice, enables the board to give direction to administrators in areas where the law may be unclear. Policy should indicate the objective the board wishes to achieve, assign responsibility for achieving those objectives, and establish accountability systems to determine if the objectives are met. So that's what they said, that's when they make recommended ones. And that they said if your board still wants to adopt one for some of those reasons listed above, she suggested reaching out to our attorneys to review the attached policy, which was mine, to determine whether or not it meets the needs and protects the district from liability.
And did we do that?
We did not do that, no, because we brought it forward to this group first.
Okay.
I could do that in the interim while it's in the warning phase.
Why don't we do that? Is everybody okay with that? Then the other thing is, can you please just send an email? I'm not sure who is VSBIT, an executive director, or is it whoever is there. Can you just ask them to?
At VSBIT as well?
Yeah, because Mark said VSBIT was a person they had talked to at the district level.
And is there a particular attorney group that you
just
guys
use
want to
whoever.
use? The normal, like Pedro or?
Yeah, or the other gentleman that helped
Sean,
us.
yeah.
Okay, so is everybody ready to vote now? So by voting this, it just means we're posting it, and then we can amend it or change it or vote it down at the next meeting if we have to, but this buys us, a couple extra weeks. It has to post for 14 days. Is everybody good with that?
Yes.
Mark, if you can find an email that tells you why VSBIT said not to, that would be great too. If you could maybe send it to Bob.
But VSBIT said not to when they were reviewing the SU one, but the SU still has one.
Right. Well, it probably never got that far. Go ahead, Mark.
I'd love to, but I don't have access to my old account,
Oh,
so I wouldn't be able to find the email.
okay. Is everybody ready to vote? All those in favor of the warning the investment policy E11 signify so by saying aye.
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 Appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is. We still have some work to do, but good job, folks. Thank you. Okay, that's all we had for old business. There's nothing else, right?
Correct.
Okay. Principals reports. We'll let you go first since you're live. It's at Memorex.
The only thing that I have to report is that Tracy Bartlett and myself went to a conference last week on conscious discipline, which is the framework for discipline and building culture that we're using here at Dover School, and it was amazing. So thank you for that opportunity. It was really great. We came back with lots of tools and invigorated and ready to really finish out this year and start next year.
Cool. Can you maybe sometime when we have a slug time, you can do like just a 5 or 10 minute overview of what it is, or if you
Yeah, of course.
can get Tracy to come in, maybe
Yeah, I'd love that.
you and Tracy, but that would be interesting. to see. And is it something that like you're train the trainers, or is it just something that you all will be using, or is it something you pass on like into the Wardsboro building if they want it? How does that all?
So there's a group of us that trained, did some training like 2 years ago, and then the rest of the staff came in fully on board this year. Basically, it's just it's a different way to think about discipline, not like traditional discipline, but just a way to help kids be able to understand logical and natural consequences, teach them how to problem solve, give them the language if someone's upsetting them, like what to say. Helps you identify what kids are missing, when they're tiny. It's really
Cool.
It's really great.
Thank you. Any questions for Tracy? Oh, Shane, I'll get to you right afterwards. Donna, thank you.
Hi, thank you. So currently we are interviewing in the process for the grade 5-6 classroom teacher. Thank you, Kate, for stepping in and being part of this process. We will continue with interviewing this week, and looking forward to the process again. And we have great candidates, really happy with what is coming in front of us. Really good qualified people. So we've been busy with that, as well as lots of conversations with the students on our spring break coming up, kind of talking about what that looks like for different students during time at Circle in the classrooms. And that's about it. Food service update. Chad, you'll be happy to hear the food bowls are back. And plentiful in the classrooms, so we're happy to have that return to the school as we still are navigating our transition of our food service program. Emma Dunn has been doing a terrific job stepping in and filling in the gaps and the holes of another whole position that requires us to do our food service. And Greg Frost has put up some of our new refrigeration at the school so that things are easily accessible, and our staff will be having a refrigeration place for their lunches. So great additions to the school.
Okay, thank you, Donna. Is there any questions for Donna? Did I give people a chance to ask you questions, or did I just do it and then? Okay. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Tracy. Spring fever's hitting yet today when it was nice?
It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad.
Cool. Still some snow out there. Wish it would all go away.
Agreed.
Bob.
Yeah, so I think the last time we met, I talked a little about the cabinet report. I don't have anything new per se. We are scheduling the interviews for the director of finance position, and we believe Rich and Dan MacArthur from Marlboro are going to be the SU board reps on that, and that's coming up, so pretty excited about that.
A lot of candidates?
I would say there's a lot of candidates, but we have plans. I think we're in good shape.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any questions from anybody for the superintendent?
No.
All set? You guys, Chad and Laura and Dwight, you all good?
All good?
Thank you. Okay, I got really, really good news. We didn't spend any money, so we don't have to approve any financials. So there's some extra money to invest, Lori. Is Lori still here?
No.
And,
No issues.
Yep, there she is.
oh, Lori, I think we're all set because we have no financials, so.
Right, because you did them last time, I think.
Yeah, so we're good. So thank you for visiting with us.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Good night, Lori.
No, you don't have to stay, but you can if you want.
And Rick, there's no such thing as extra. It's gonna come into play soon.
Oh, okay. So I Shane's here. Shane, did you have any comments under staff or public or anything? Okay, usually we do them early on, and we do let people, if they got here late, we let them speak. So the next thing, if there's no other new business from anybody, we have the April 1st minutes. We don't have to have action. We can just by unanimous consent approve them unless anybody has any issues or any comments. Anybody's name spelt wrong? Okay, hearing none, then by unanimous consent, we'll adopt the minutes of the April 1st, 2024 meeting. I did get correspondence. I don't remember who it's from, but I think, can we check Mike's email address on the River Valley site to make sure it goes somewhere? Because I think somebody tried to send an email to the board and Mike's came back as undeliverable. So
He just turned off his email, that's all he did.
I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to turn it on.
So on the new site?
no, don't go
Okay.
there for me. We'll get Mike trained up, but anyways.
Yeah, I think, Rich, that'll be a punt to Derek, because that's more of an IT issue, if it's getting bounced back, so long as the website address, or the address that's linked in is correct.
Okay, can you just check into that, Bob, and make sure? Yeah, it doesn't have to be done right now. That's
long
not
as-
us, right? We don't have to sign anything. Okay.
Cool spelling is correct on the site.
I have no idea.
URQUHART.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw. Go ahead, Mark.
The problem is that on the website it says murquhart@wyndhamcentral.org and not wyndhamcentralboard.org.
That's exactly what I was just about to say when I linked it, yep.
Okay.
So it's going to an address that doesn't exist because. it
Was
should be
that
a
from
voice.
you?
Yes, it was.
Okay. I knew somebody had sent me something. It's pretty good that I remembered that. Is there any other, is that good, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you letting us know that. If there's nothing else under consent, before we go into executive session so that we don't have to keep Meredith and everybody, so we're gonna meet next Monday in the Wardsboro building. So it's just gonna be a review of the annual report. I would say that because I don't think we need to have BCTV there. We've reviewed it twice on TV. That way we don't have to set up a Zoom meeting. It'll just be a live meeting, Bob. So, and I have
Do what you want.
access.
I won't be there.
Yeah, I know. Yes, Laura?
Rachel?
Yeah?
Yeah, I think if we've set an expectation that we are going to provide meetings via recorded meetings, I think we should continue to do that.
Okay, the only reason is, Laura, we've had two of them and there's been nothing happening. And
You'll still be there.
I just think that it seems like it's,
Rich, if BCTV is still doing it, there'll be a recording on their site.
What do you mean?
Like BCTV records this, right?
Right now?
Right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they put their recording on their website, which we link to on our website. So even if we're not running a Zoom to record it, he's still going to capture the recording with his camera, right?
It sounds like Laura's requesting that, since we've set the expectation that we do hybrid meetings, that we
So-
continue.
So it's not a recording
But
issue, it's a
we
hybrid.
never set an expectation that we do a hybrid meeting of the annual meeting. And this is strictly review of the annual meeting, so, it's all up to you folks. But Laura thinks we should do a hybrid meeting, which then I don't know how we're gonna do that because there's.
So Richard,
there's no-
excuse me, I think I misunderstood you. So I thought you were saying that we would not have BCTV there.
No, we're not gonna I can't do a hybrid meeting because, there's gonna be no staff there, so it's kinda hard to have a meeting and also do the Zoom portion of it too. And we don't do a live, we don't do a Zoom meeting or a hybrid meeting for the annual meeting, so I thought that we wouldn't do
So-
that.
Hybrid meetings and BCTV being there are two separate
I
things.
understand that,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. So it will, if they're still being hired to be there, they'll be there.
Right, we're just not gonna, we won't have a
We won't have
Zoom
a
meeting,
Zoom, yeah, okay.
a Zoom portion,
Yeah,
so we
so
can't record, there won't be a Zoom recording.
But there'll be a BCTV recording.
If we can get them to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be important to me, that because we have set the expectation that BCTV is gonna record these meetings, so.
So she's fine with the other part, she just
Okay.
wants us to know that.
So no-
Right, thank you, Kate.
So no hybrid is okay as long as there's a BCTV, right?
Is everybody good with that? So who's coming next Monday?
I'm an 80%.
Can you make it? Chad and Laura and Dwight, you're good?
It's a tough swing for me, Rich, given the time. But I think it's also important that if we're not having the hybrid, that we make the notice now that if folks can't make it in person, they can certainly submit questions via correspondence to be read at the meeting. They will be answered and recorded by BCTV, so their answers can be seen after the fact if they're not able to make it.
I think we already put out the agenda for the meeting and it doesn't have a link, so I think that knowledge
Is there?
is there. And we're making a statement right now that if anybody wants to correspond with us and they're not able to make the meeting in person, they can please feel free to send us a correspondence. We would love that.
So if anybody has any questions, how are they gonna get them to us? Because there's nobody around. So they have to get the question to us by Friday.
They can find board emails on our new website.
Don't email me.
But not like,
It'll be fixed by then.
Yeah.
You're gonna get so many emails.
No, but the problem is how do we get them ahead of time?
Well, I think we just made the notice right here that folks can
email
send
chat.
that email in anytime prior to the meeting.
Okay, so you'll be able to check it for me before.
I will check my email before the
Email
meeting.
Kate.
Okay, and then
Yes.
just call me.
Yep.
Okay, we're good. And then the meeting after that is going to be on Monday, May 4th, 5th.
Where's the calendar? The calendar says that Monday is May 6th.
May 6th at 6 PM in Wardsboro will be our reorg meeting and then a regular board meeting. And then I wanted people to notice before we go into executive session, on the bottom of the agenda, we added a parking lot. It didn't cost us a lot, we didn't have to pave it. So what we did was we put items there that are things that we're in the process of discussing, we want to just keep them in people's minds. But we didn't want to lose them, but we don't have to discuss them every meeting. And if you look in the parking lot, we have the PCB update because Tracy told us last time he actually did the testing, so we should see those results probably in a couple months. I think it took last time, right, 2 to 3 months?
The sampling, we've
Yeah.
not done, yeah, it's the sampling.
And then Greg is working on some numbers on the roof, and then, the website updates, it's still kind of a work in progress. We just found that Mike's email was bad email for Mike. So if you have anything that we want to just keep on track at the end of the meeting, let's just add to the parking lot, or if there's stuff that we're done, maybe after the annual meeting, the website will be all good and we won't have to worry about it anymore, and that can come out the parking lot, go into permanent storage or something. So if there's no other comments, thoughts, questions, and the annual meeting's at 7 o'clock according to the book, it's on April 30th.
Tuesday, April 30th at the Dover Town Hall. Please join us. It's
Yeah.
going to be fun.
Not the down hall. And then April 29th, you have to vote between 10 and 7 in your respective town. And then the last informational meeting will be next Monday, 6 PM in the Wardsboro School Building. Donna, you can just leave the cookies in a box with my name on them, okay? Thank you. Okay. We have, thank you, Marco,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it, yeah. Be in touch.
We have an executive session, if somebody can make a motion.
I move to find the premature general public knowledge would clearly place the board at a substantial disadvantage.
Do I have a second to that motion?
Second that.
Kate made a motion, and it was seconded by Mike. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative.
And I move to go into executive session under 1 VSA 313A1 to discuss a contract.
Second that.
Okay, so Kate made a motion to go into executive session to discuss contract at 7:05 PM, and Mike seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. By unanimous consent, we came out of executive session at what time?
7:42 PM.
7:42 PM. So, do we have a motion?
I would like to make a motion to improve the increase brought forward to us as recommended by the superintendent, and that he will bring us a contract
For
for the next meeting. For,
not the name, but the Dover building.
for the Dover principal.
Is that good, Bob?
Administration.
Okay, do I have a second to that?
Second that.
Okay, I'm giving it to Mike, Laura, sorry. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
All the victory, Mike.
Aye.
That's all I really came for.
Okay, we'll see whoever can make it on the 22nd, and we'll see whoever can make it on the 29th, and we hope to see everybody on the 30th. So I will entertain the most important motion of the night.
I make a motion to adjourn at 7:43 PM.
That's what I come for.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Aye.